Okay, so let's unpack this. The big question dominating the AI space right now is Gemini 3 Pro actually better than GPT 5.1? Or is this just another hype cycle?
That's the core of it, really. And for this deep dive, we looked at sources comparing them head-to-head on things like reasoning, writing, coding. And the bottom line is, it really depends on what you're doing.
Right. It's not a simple one is better answer.
Not at all. It's more of a choice between um, raw brute force capacity and something a little more subtle, more consistent.
So when you look at those comparisons, where did Gemini 3 Pro first make its mark? What was the immediate, undeniable strength?
It was.
Mm.
It was just the sheer power in its advanced reasoning. Gemini is fantastic at complex multi-step logic puzzles
Yeah.
or these really long chain of thought requests.
Mm.
It holds on to the deep structure of the problem better than anything else right now.
And that raw power, that directly feeds into its main advantage, right? The long context.
Exactly.
For those projects that take hours, where you're feeding at huge legal documents, scripts, research papers.
Gemini keeps all those details locked in. It doesn't lose the plot, which is, absolutely crucial for that kind of deep work.
Okay, so moving from just text to the more technical stuff,
Yeah.
how does it handle multimodal work? Images and text together.
This is where it really shines. It feels
Yeah.
extremely natural. It's not just recognizing an image and slapping a label on it. It's doing actual visual reasoning.
What does that mean in practice?
It can look at, say, a complex UI screenshot and understand design hierarchy, or it can interpret a technical diagram and explain how the parts relate. It's a huge advantage for any kind of design workflow.
The coding part is where it gets really interesting for me, because the sources say both are strong, but for totally different reasons. How can GPT 5.1 still be considered like the artisan choice if Gemini has so much more capacity?
It's really about their core philosophy.
Yeah.
Gemini 3 Pro acts more like a full agent. It integrates with Google's other tools and tries to plan and structure the entire task for you.
So it's building the whole house, not just handing you the bricks.
That's a great way to put it. It generates these bigger, more automated solutions.
And GPT 5.1, where does that fit in?
That's where the nuance comes in. GPT 5.1 is just incredibly reliable when you give it extremely detailed, granular instructions. The code it produces is, well, it's just cleaner, more predictable, and needs less debugging right out of the gate.
Here's the curveball, right? The part that I found really surprising. We have this powerhouse in Gemini, but the sources are all pointing to where it struggles, and that's the human element.
Exactly. For long emotional or psychological reasoning, it's not quite there.
So it's logical, but not empathetic.
Yeah, that's fair. GPT 5.1 is just more stable and natural in a conversation. If you need it to, say, summarize a therapy transcript or understand subtle human meaning in a story, it gets the subtext in a way Gemini doesn't. It just feels more human in its tone.
And that consistency also shows up in its memory, right? I read that Gemini can sometimes be a bit unpredictable. It might forget a small instruction you gave it earlier in a long session.
It can, yeah. You might have to repeat yourself. GPT 5.1, on the other hand, tends to be ruthlessly consistent, especially if you give it really structured prompts. It's the safer bet for a long, sustained dialogue.
So if we tie this all together, the conclusion is pretty clear.
Neither one is just better. You have to match the AI to the job you're actually doing.
Okay, so let's break it down for everyone listening. If your job is pure reasoning, if you're tackling huge documents, processing visual data, or you need that big picture automated workflow, you go for Gemini 3 Pro.
Correct. But if your work needs creative writing, emotional nuance, or any time you need that conversational memory and super predictable, clean results, then GPT 5.1 is still your champion.
So what does this all mean for you? The real metric here isn't just about raw power on a spec sheet. It's about how perfectly that tool fits the job you need to get done. So we'd encourage you to think about your own daily tasks. Do you need that sheer capacity to analyze something massive? Or do you need that subtle, predictable consistency in every single interaction? That choice is the future of your workflow.